Welcome, welcome, boys. You're looking at the underneath of a Ford F150 under the frame and the rear axle. So as you can see here, we have a frame with a little bit of a stop there for whenever you load the bed. It goes down and stops on the axle. Now that's cool and all, nice design, but when you overload it, your truck's going to be squatting quite a bit. So much so that it would look something like this picture. We can't have that now, can we? So you might be asking, well, what are you going to do to fix that, Hollywood? Well, we're going to install this here Timbren SES kit on this F-150. I'll show you what comes in the kit, and then we'll get to the install. This is all the hardware that comes with the kit. It's even labeled for you. Left. All the hardware here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what we do when we install it on our truck there, and then that way if we load the bed full of heavy materials, we won't have any of that squatting action. She'll be able to sit fairly level. Okay, boys, and here's the instructions on how we install these dealios. We'll call them load stops or bump stops, I guess, on our rear axle. Now, I'm not a big fan of reading instructions, which is why I didn't read them, but you guys can read them if you like by pausing here and then install it however you think that needs to go. But I'm more of a trial and error kind of guy myself, so that's what we're going to do. So stay tuned, and then you don't have to worry about reading instructions. You can just do what I do after I mess it up like 20 times. Okay, boys, first order of business is, of course, to remove this factory bump stop dealio. 13 mil. Allegedly, what we need. So get ye old deep well socket extension and your ratchet and a bunch of elbow grease, and maybe you'll be able to break it loose without having to break out ye old impact driver or a pipe. Look at that. Mr. Muscles over there is busting her loose. So take that out, and then we'll install the newfangled one. Okay, boys, and that's that renewed. Well, let's get a look at that bolt so you guys get an idea of how much cranking we're going to have to do here. So, this thing was really in there. Looks like it was possibly Loctited. So, here's the technique I recommend then, which I already did on that side, is take your PB blaster, spray it in these holes to kind of lube that bolt, and then maybe your life won't suck. But we'll know here in a second, boys, when we try it on the other side. Either it sucks just as bad or it doesn't. Okay, boys, so here's our left with our bolt. So this is going to go and replace what we just removed up there on the frame. And then, of course, torque too tight. Okay, boys, an 11/16 ratcheting wrench will work, or whatever your metric equivalent is, but possibly 13 mil. But our boy here doesn't quite have a metric ratcheting wrench set, and I didn't bring mine. I didn't anticipate needing it. But you will want a ratcheting wrench unless you're going to spend, 1.5 days torquing this thing up in there. And do make sure the hooks are on the inboard side per this instruction manual. Okay, boys, and then we need our hockey puck looking thing, our big bushy thing, and then of course our, I believe 17 mil bolt that goes through there. So here's our puck, 17 mil poking through there, and then that thing. What we install next. Okay, boys, so after some reading, which is like, I think the first freaking thing that we didn't read here, it says, raise vehicle allowing the axle to hang freely. So, oopsie daisy, we had the jack stands on the axle, so note to self, you're going to let the leaf springs and the shocks kind of hold it up, and move your jacks someplace that's not the axle. So, that way we have enough room here to put our deal up in there, because if you try it the way we did, you're going to find out in quick order that oopsie daisy, you're not going to be able to fit that in there along with a ratchet. So, all right, it pays to read. Okay, boys, and we found our combination is a long deep well socket with a very short extension. Is how we can clear our axle. So here comes the fun part. It is with very little room.
That's wrong. No, that's not right.
Get up in there and torque her down. Alright, boys, and now she's firmly affixed. It's about how far she should be poking through. Nice and tight. There's no torque specs mentioned, or if there are, I didn't read them anyway. So, okay, so there we go. 30 to 35 foot-pounds, or, as I like to use the German specs, good and tight.
I need that metal thing.
Alright.
I was like, well, that ain't gonna work.
Alright, so we got our metal U-shaped thing that goes on the bottom of the axle. Or U-shaped metal piece anyway, and our actual U-shaped bolts with this flat piece goes over the top. And then secure that, and then once we get her done, this thing should, at ride height, rest up against it. And then not compress so much under load. Imagine it'll ride like shit maybe if you're in the back, but who the hell rides in the bed of a truck these days? Nobody, that's who. Okay, boys, and as you saw, we did use a level because this thing kind of wants to slide around on you. So just, if you have another person, that would be great. But put your level on there and then kind of just tighten a little bit each way. It was a 14 mil, but a very tight 14 mil. But I think that's level, but we'll know for sure once the bed sits down on it. It'll be wherever it wants to be, I guess. So, I mean, there you have it. We'll go ahead and, I guess, give a demonstration when it's all said and done. But, you know, the other side's the same as this side. So, it's as easy as that. But we'll come back in a bit once we set the bed back down on the axle here, and then everything should be hunky-dory. Alright, boys, and there she is, back on the ground. And that will be our more or less permanent ride height. Even under load, she can press a little bit, but not enough where it's going to be squatting. So, there you have it. That's how you do the install. And if you were wondering, the PB Blaster really helped over on the passenger side. So, before you start, do yourself a favor and PB Blaster inside the frame rails for that bolt, or you're going to have a bad time. So, alright, that's how we do the install on our little bump stops here, Ford F-150 STX. Thanks for watching, boys. Peace.